Hi guys, welcome to the new video, and today we'll discuss some interview question based on monitoring tools which can be asked in a DevOps interview. So yeah, let's go. Yeah, so first question is what monitoring tools are used in your company? So basically you can answer it in a way that we like depending on what tools are being used in your company and for what monitoring what tools are used. Like in some companies they use for network monitoring they use different tool. For dashboarding they use different tool. For application monitoring they are using different tool, or some companies are using platform or like cloud platform tools on services only as monitoring tools. For alerting, if if in your company some different tool is used, you can answer that. Mostly the tool that is used is Prometheus, Grafana for dashboarding, Nangios, Zabbix, Datadog, or if we are talking about AWS, we use CloudWatch. Then if we are talking about Azure, we use Azure Monitor. So like this, you can tell. You can tweak the answer accordingly what you think that you know well and you can answer well, and what you have studied or what you have worked on, so you can tell that. Then do you have any idea how it is deployed? So if it is used deployed using helm charts, in you can say that like in Prometheus Grafana we use helm charts to deploy it. And for this for Kubernetes monitoring, if we are using EKS, then though we can monitor it with CloudWatch only. For on-prem servers we use ELK. So you can study basically, and whatever you study, or if you're applying for SRE engineer, or if they are asking you about monitoring tool and you haven't worked that much, you can tell accordingly that you have a different team, but I have idea about it, and this is how it is deployed. You can study. Basically they want because DevOps engineer has to work on like they have to monitor the application that they have deployed, and if any issue occurs, so that they can handle it. So they should know, they should have some idea about the monitoring tools. Then difference between monitoring and observability. Monitoring is like collecting the matrices, like we can define the matrix like CPU, memory, and we can collect the matrices according to what we have defined. And observability is a more deeper term where we are checking the health of an application by observing each and everything. So like this. And also guys, if you are planning to like explore different roles, so you can go for SRE engineer. If you love working on monitoring tools, you can explore that field. You can in DevOps also it is good that you know, it will be a upper hand only if you know monitoring tools too. So yeah, primary components of observability, it is logs, matrices, and traces. Okay, and you can read about it. Then how do you monitor and optimize database performance? So database, like basically for optimizing it, we use indexing, we use query, we delete the old data, and we can archive the old data. In this way you can tell and you can monitor the database using some in AWS services, or you can, if you're using Prometheus Grafana, you can configure that. So yeah, like this you can tweak your answer. Then how would you implement a monitoring strategy for a containerized environment? So guys, there are different types of monitoring. First is the infrastructure monitoring, our application monitoring, our network monitoring. So what all tools are you using for all these kinds of monitoring? You should understand, you if you'll explain in a very crisp way that if our network monitoring we are using Grafana, we there we have we if and then for application monitoring we are using like the CloudWatch or Prometheus. We are collecting the matrices and we are giving the data to Grafana, where the dashboard charts are are made. So in this way, you can tell the strategies how you are using, yeah, how you are implementing a monitoring strategy, and then if there is any issue, how you are handling alerts, how you are sending alerts. If in CloudWatch you can send a notification using SNS service. Okay, so how in Azure Monitor we can even configure email, and we can send the email for triggering the alert, and then how we can handle it. So yeah, in this way you can explain. Then what tools are you using for different types of monitoring, so that you can tell, like as I said, network monitoring, connection monitoring, and application monitoring, infrastructure monitoring, you can tell. Monitoring in AWS, monitoring in Azure. So accordingly, if you are working on AWS, you can tell you can, how have you used CloudWatch. If you are working on Azure, how have you used Azure Monitor, or if there are any other services, you can mention that. Then what are you doing for handling alerts? Like what happened? There are many companies who are working on automation of fixing these alerts too. So if the alerts are also coming, they have written a scripts of PowerShell which can fix. We can the scripts of PowerShell which can fix the issues, or Lambda scripts. So in this way, you can tell if you have written any Lambda function, or if you haven't written any PowerShell function, if you have written any shell scripting, you can mention those. Then how will you monitor API endpoint? So API endpoint is basically our API endpoint means our HTTPS connection. So what you can say, you have written a PowerShell code where you are hitting the API, and if you are getting 200 status, it means our URL is up. But if we are getting status other than this, then we can take an action accordingly. And in this way, you can explain. So this I want to tell, like in Kubernetes we use Grafana, for AWS we use CloudWatch, on-prem Yelk and Kibana, Azure we use Azure Monitor, then Data Insight, Azure Data Insight. So you can check all this and accordingly form your answers. What you have worked on or what you have studied. So you can tell your answers, and you can implement, you can frame your answer in that way. So yeah guys, that's all for today's video, and if you think that there can be more questions related to this monitoring, please comment down. It will be helpful for all of us. So yeah, that's all. Bye.